What is education? Books, classes? It's not that. It's beyond this. Education is a term that we have grown up listening to since we were kids. Right from the beginning of childhood till this very moment, we have been surrounded by education and its need and importance. A luxury for the rich, a necessity for the bread earner, a dream for the underprivileged, an aspiration for the suppressed, a distant reality for the inaccessible. The primary objective of education is to impart knowledge. Education also has its fair share in building the thinking capacity of people's minds. Hence, education supplies people with knowledge and facts and also encourages them to integrate that acquired knowledge into practical and professional lives via necessary training. Education, thus, also plays a primary role in supporting the economic, social, and cultural sector of a country. It's a way to change the future today. The current education system can make people easy to lead, but difficult to drive, is either all academic, all physical, all virtual, or all costly. Also, it makes it easy to govern, but impossible to enslave. We cannot win over the future by sabotaging our present with extreme disparity. IIU takes great pride in saying that we're bridging the gaps in education system. We're not just academicians, but also practically oriented. We're not just limited to virtual classes, but also physical exposure. We do not dig a hole in the pockets of the students and their families. We're everything that traditional education hasn't been. IIU has already implemented and promoting the MOOCs technology. When we talk about MOOCs technology, it stands for Massive, Open, Online Courses. The word massive is to be understood in the sense that 100,000 learners or more at the same time have open and equal opportunities to attend these courses. MOOCs are truly a tremendous technological leap, and what makes them so attractive is that they don't imply any cost to learners. IIU has tied up with more than 100 universities to provide more than 10,000 courses to the students, free of cost, with the help of MOOCs technology. We're a revolution in the making, a wind of change. Education is much more charming and intriguing than the temptations of distractions unnecessary. Our education policymakers must look into the problem to make a better system which is more practical and provides hands-on learning to the students. Who are we? The International Internship University is a virtual university with state-of-the-art curriculum, real-life industry exposure, amazing student attention, learning-oriented resources, and most of all, a commitment to make the world a better place. Why do we exist? We exist to fulfill the necessity of the bread earner. We exist to help underprivileged achieve their dreams. We exist to fuel aspirations and accessibility. We exist to provide everyone the luxury of being capable of changing the world. We really do exist to ignite young minds and make them the torchbearers of tomorrow. For a better future. For the legacy of everyone who's left us. For the hope of everyone who's yet to come, and for the growth of everyone who walks this beautiful planet. We invite you to join our world-class educational team and platform with an altruistic dedication to creating the future. The change is so big that it would potentially impact millions across the world. Millions of children and youth around the world cannot wait any longer. Please join us in our effort to create the virtual learning generation of IIU. We're IIU, we're change. Welcome to our world. A new tomorrow.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, distinguished trainers, educators, and professionals joining us from around the world. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the IIU Global Train the Trainer program. Before I'm going to start, I would like just to express our sincere appreciation to every trainer who has joined the IIU Global Trainers Network. Thank you for believing in this initiative and for bringing your knowledge, experience, and unique perspective to our growing international community. Today actually marks a very special milestone for us. The IIU Global Trainers Network has officially reached its target of representing 50 countries. This achievement actually is not simply about reaching a number. It represents 50 cultures, 50 perspectives, and countless opportunities for collaboration, learning, and meaningful global impact. At IIU, our vision is to create more than an educational institution. We aim to build a global spaces where knowledge moves beyond borders, professional connect, educator gain visibility, and ideas are transformed into action. We believe that when people from different backgrounds come together with a shared purpose, learning becomes more powerful and leadership becomes more meaningful. This Train the Trainer program is an important part of our vision, of that vision. It is designed in order to strengthen our training, delivery, facilitation skills, professional confidence, and ability to create learning experience that truly engage and inspire others. This program is going to consist of two sessions, okay, taking place today, and the second one is going to be on the 24th July. Both sessions are essential part of the program, and participants who are going to attend both will receive the certificates from IIU as a trainer professional development one. We therefore encourage every one of you just to remain actively engaged, participate fully, and complete the entire learning journey. It's now my great honor to introduce our program trainer, Mr. Rayan Halawi. Mr. Rayan is an internationally certified trainer. He is accredited by several training and education bodies. He has an extensive experience in training, professional development, educational technology, and artificial intelligence in education. He previously served as a senior advisor at the Ministry of Education and Higher Education in Lebanon, and currently he is an IIU Education Ambassador. We are grateful actually to have him today on these two important sessions, sharing his knowledge and and experience with our global community. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Rayan Halawi. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this great introduction. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So I'd like to thank you for this great introduction. I'd like to thank everyone for their time. And it's great to be able to achieve such a high number from different countries and cultures to be part of this program. As Maha said, I am certified, accredited by several international training and education bodies, alongside being an IIU Education Ambassador, which is a privilege. I served at the Ministry of Education and Higher Education in Lebanon as a senior advisor. I do have a few roles, but my main currently, I'm a managing partner at Vantilect, which is an AI in education consultancy firm. I do hold qualified teacher status from the Department of Education in England. I am currently a university instructor. I was a former school teacher as well. So just mentioning this because I will be talking about a lot of examples that I've come across during my career, which are examples from live sessions. So we'll make a start just to talk a bit about the objectives of the session. We will be talking about the role itself of a trainer, and more in particular a professional trainer, what responsibilities we are obliged to have or to commit to as a trainer, how to structure training sessions with clear purpose, outcomes, objectives, how to create a learning journey for our trainees. We will look at current technologies and AI tools that can assist us. And I emphasize on the word assist and not replace us. We will look at clearer delivery, stronger online presence, engagement, presentation, pace, alongside reflection and feedback to try and create points for improvement. So I obviously would like this session to be interactive. Feel free to think about questions. I will have questions for you to answer in the chat as well. We will have a Q&A at the end as well. So if you want to save some questions for that, that would be great. If I'm going too quick, you can stop me and tell me. To meet those objectives, we will look at this program content. As Maha said, we will cover part of it today, which is number 1, 2, and 3, and we will hopefully cover the rest on Friday next week. So the program content that are split into first 3 parts are the trainer role and professional standards, structuring the session, and lastly for today is using AI to support preparation. Let's begin with number 1, which talks about the trainer role and professional standard itself. We all know that knowledge on its own is not enough. So I may know a lot of things, but delivering it is a different story. I need structure. I need to be able to adapt, to learn, to improve, to create an impact that leaves beyond the room. I need to influence others and create some sort of responsible, stronger, clearer training session. Before we move on, I'd like to know in the chat briefly, please, what field or sector do you mainly work in? I kind of have an idea from the data we have, but I want others to be able to sort of get to know you as well. So just 1 or 2 words, please, just to give us an idea of okay, mostly education, hospitality, mental health. Excellent. Psychology, special needs. It's great to see this diverse accreditation. Excellent. Health, yep. So it's great to see this range of sectors, if you want. It gives us a better contribution to the session. So this chart on the right side, this pyramid rather, I was introduced to this pyramid a long time ago when I was doing my qualifications and training, and it stayed with me for so many years. It stayed with me for so many years for a reason, because from my experience in training, teaching, schools, universities, etc., I touched what this really means on ground. So a speaker can communicate ideas, and by communicating ideas as in delivering a session, speaking, focusing on maybe informing trainees of a particular thing, we're kind of talking about lecturing, reading, possibly audiovisual. When we move on to training, we are trying to build understanding, trying to do something with outcomes, maybe help people apply, and that can be touch a bit on practice by doing maybe demonstration, could be discussion groups to help build understanding. And we can also be a facilitator where we guide participants to complete a particular journey or process. And that's the most important part for me, focusing on the learning process itself, helping groups to think and engage. Now, in my opinion, a trainer may need to use each individual component at one time, but a professional trainer will need to combine all three. So my main point from this slide is that training is not just about speaking, it is about trying to get learners to retain the information. And for them to be able to do that, they have to be involved in the learning process. And that can be by doing, by discussing, by teaching others, by applying, whatever the scenario or circumstances are. And looking at this picture on the left, maybe it implies the traditional classroom where you get, or training session where you get a teacher presenting information on the board as well as delivering to students, and students are learners who are just receiving this information. The quote underneath it tries to imply something else, but for me it contradicts itself, because the teacher expects students to be independent, innovative, critical thinkers who will do exactly as he says. Now, how can they if he wants them or she wants them to do exactly what he says? And that brings me to this idea to move from telling to guiding, covering content to designing a learning journey. So I'm not saying the first column is not necessary or is not important. It's very important for you as a trainer to sort of start your thoughts on what needs to be delivered, the session itself, creating the material, thinking about what to speak to participants, maybe delivering a session that's engaging. However, moving on to engaging participants themselves, encouraging reflection and application, creating this learning experience where they retain the information better and focus on what they can actually take away. And this obviously requires preparation, adaptation, and improvement. So it's not just a role where it's trainer-centered, as in you deliver information and people actively take it in. It's more about making it learner-centered. Now, this tip here, reduce TTT. When I was doing my qualified teaching status in the UK, I remember the three letters really well, and I thought if I still remember them for more than 13 years, then they're definitely important. TTT, I came across the phrase when, sorry, Maha, I think there needs to be some audio. If we can mute some participants, please. Sorry. So TTT, I came across this through one of my training sessions. I was delivering a training session for 20 minutes, and I used to have a mentor. So part of the program was where I spent 6 months delivering sessions and lessons, and I received mentorship to get feedback and reflect and so on. So one of my mentors once, when I finished the session, I asked for feedback, and he said TTT, and I said, "What does that mean? What did I do?" And he said, "Trainer talking time." Apparently, at that time when I was still training, I spent 15 of the 20 minutes talking, and he went on to explain how what did students really do, and what did the learner really achieve or gain or apply or engage with. Or it was me delivering information. It was kind of boring. Some listened, some didn't. So for me, reducing a trainer talking time is one of the most important factors. How do I achieve that? How do I achieve all of the items that I discussed on the slide earlier? And For me, it's split into three parts. It has to be a before, during, and after. So before, I need to prepare, know that my audience really well, and structure content for the session. During, I need to guide, engage, adapt as necessary. I may come across possible challenges or experiences that I need to adapt to. And it's very important to reflect and collect feedback afterwards to try and improve. So please, as you can see, if you can share some um, items in the chat that you think could be added to each stage that others may benefit from. Prepare questions that could be asked. Very important. Excellent. Sorry, Maha, I've lost share rights. Let's try again. Oh, here we go. So please, if you can, in the meantime, share in the chat some items. Small quiz before starting, interactive quiz. Yep. Icebreakers, excellent. Get to know people during, and I like this one because during the session, it's really important to try and engage with the audience to make them feel involved. Mentimeter, we will come back to this one. Excellent. I have it somewhere in section 3, I think. Pre-listening tasks, good. Brainstorming, group work, during delivery, allow trainers to interrupt you. Yep, very important to be able to engage. Videos related to this topic, and not just videos, any other material that you think can be an effective way to deliver information instead of just you talking the information across. Analysis before, well done. Multimedia use, excellent. Thank you all for your answers. Really a huge amount of experience, I can tell. So know your audience, know what to prepare for. Yep. We will come across all of those in section 2 to go through parts of a lesson. Eye content as well. Excellent. Okay, thank you so much. We all agree on our core responsibilities as a trainer before, during, and after. So if we have a well-prepared training session and we know what to do during and after, my only emphasis now would be on this idea of not just passing knowledge from one person to another. So a professional trainer will need to help participants understand, make sense of the content in a particular way, build confidence, feel more prepared to use what they are learning. So to use it maybe to generate more content or to understand things in a better way, to receive guidance. Again, this comes back to the facilitator role. Know what to do, how to do it, and what to focus on in particular, and practice and apply to try and be ready to integrate learning into real situations and real life scenarios. So it's really important to focus on all those. Obviously, we can add to this list, but this is more of a starting point if you want. So I'd like to also get some ideas from you on the opposite side now. And I'm well prepared. I know what to do. I understand the role, the structure, the content. But what can actually damage my credibility then? If I do all the previous things we talked about, which ones, if I miss, may damage my credibility? Yep, if you're not prepared enough. I think this is the worst one. Keep the learning sick. Not if you don't show expertise, if you're not an expert in the field, but you're trying to pretend you are one, yep, lack of knowledge, wrong facts, poor communication, thinking you have all the answers as a trainer. And I have and I like this one, Simon. Thank you. And actually, I was delivering a session once where there was a question that I didn't have an answer to. And there's nothing wrong with saying, look, I'll come back to you on this one. We can, if you have a future session with them, you can answer it in the next session, or you can send them some details on it later. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to know everything. Having a know-it-all attitude, same thing, yep. Teaching false information, limited knowledge, lack of flexibility, lack of confidence, no interaction, community styles, not knowing your audience, lack of time management, absolutely. Again, this is really beneficial, by the way. I hope everyone's reading it because it's amazing to get such answers. Knowing a subject really well, brilliant. Thank you so much. I haven't really got much to add. We can move on to standards, and this is the last part of this section. And the reason why I'm talking about standards is because how can I manage this credibility damage idea? Well, if I can follow some standards alongside some main components, which we talked about earlier, then I have a good chance at getting it right. So training is not only a personal style. It's more of at the end of the day, we are professional practitioners. So as a trainer, I am a professional, and I need to have some standards to help me achieve what I want to achieve, which is to build credibility, to protect the quality of my training, to respect adult learners. Also, we'll come back to this in a few slides, and work responsibly across contexts and reflect and improve. So there are known standards. These are examples of quality delivery standards and universally applicable across corporate, fitness, academics, technical industries. These are just random examples, by the way. And I'm not implying that you should use any, or I'm just using them as an examples. And the reason why I'm using them as an example is because I cannot really talk about one particular standard at the moment, because we have people from different industries and different sectors. But for me, what's important is a summary, which I'll present to you on this slide, which is a collection of recognized, I'd like to call foundations. We can also call standards, but a professional trainer should be able to at least understand the role. As I said on the first slide, know the difference between speaking, training, facilitating, and mentoring. Analyze the audience really well. You mentioned this in the chat. Understand what level they are, what are their needs, why am I delivering this? Get them to understand what the session will involve. Make sure you understand their expectations. You need to design the learning in a way to meet those needs of the audience, a way to check their understanding as well, and not just deliver as in passing knowledge on and that's it. Deliver with presence. Have some engagement. Have some passion. Be confident. Have clear explanations ready. Engage them. Ask them questions. Reflect. Actively get them to actively participate. You can use tools, and it's not limited to AI tools. Could be digital tools as well, or physical technology if you're delivering a face-to-face session. And also very important to evaluate and improve. So these are sort of starting points, if you want, to build a foundation to your training material. One thing I'd like to mention is that because a lot of us assume, and I used to assume anyway, that dealing with adults I can see it the same as dealing with school students, and it's not. Paulo Freire, philosopher in education, famously argued that adult learners are not empty containers to be filled with information. So just because they are an adult doesn't mean I need to just deliver information to them and that's it. No, they bring a lot of experience. They bring a lot of expectations. They have a lot of expectations. They have questions to ask. They are able to make a professional judgment on them in some cases. Um, However, they are also expecting me to give them some relevance, some respect, some value, some space to be able to connect ideas. So I cannot treat them like school students. I need to treat them as experienced professionals who are building on what they already know. And I need to, if you know, a professional trainer will make good use of that. It's not a weakness. It's an amazing value added component to your training session, if understood and used well. Right. So just to wrap up the section, briefly in the chat, you can just type the question number and the letter that you think is correct. You can just do them four in one go if you want. So just a quick assessment. So as I am delivering the session, you can tell I've shown you some components as in engaging the audience in the chat, having the material prepared, etc. So you can kind of sense the components as we go on. So I mean, they're not difficult questions, but they're just there to help us reflect and possibly show a demonstration of assessment. Thank you for your answers. Excellent. Okay, so I think almost all of you got them right, which is amazing. So the main purpose of train the trainer is to prepare trainers to design, deliver, and improve learning. A trainer is different from a speaker because the trainer will help participants understand, practice, and apply. And it's our responsibility to understand the audience and to structure really well before delivering a session. And adult learners usually need relevance, respect, and practical connection. Well done. Okay, excellent. Thank you. So this was more of just a generic intro to what the role of the trainer should be. Now I'd like to move on to part two, which is structuring training for clarity and retention. And in this particular section, we will talk about the actual session itself. What are the components of a successful training session? So how can I design a successful training session? Structure is really important. As I said earlier, knowing the topic is not enough. If I don't structure it really well, students or learners will not know where they are going, will not know what to do with the material and the scenarios that I give them, will not understand how to connect it because they won't understand why they're learning it, and they won't know what they should remember. So they wouldn't have a vision of why am I learning this? What's the objective of the session, etc. So a clear structure that can help participants is to follow the session, understand the logic, what key points they need to remember, and how can they apply this to their learning. This is, I was trying to build a diet plan for myself, and I thought, okay, I need to focus on muscle building for a while. I spoke to my dietitian, and she recommended some ingredients that are important for me to achieve that. And part of the ingredients are in the picture, and when combined, they give me this meal that I want that is supposed to increase my muscle building. Whether I follow it or not is a different story, but these ingredients, if followed correctly, will definitely help me achieve some muscle building. Obviously, there are other factors, and it's a spectrum, but it's very important for me to at least start with what's correct. What's correct is having some ingredients that will form this successful diet plan that I'm trying to follow. Now, in your opinion, what components or ingredients, if you want, that make a training session clear and easy to follow? So what things will I need to have in my training session that will make it clear and easy to follow? If you can, in the chat, give me some ideas of what components can make a training session clear and easy to follow. So objectives, yep, content, having some clear goals and objectives, having an agenda, having an agenda and steps, logistics, very well done. And this is not usually tailored to. It's very important to understand logistics of running a session, relevance, professionalism, excellent, clear ideas and language, strategic relationship, tips to improve, follow-ups. Excellent ideas. Okay, in addition to the ones you mentioned, I'd like to show you effective communication, clear agenda. I'd like to show you some ideas that I put together that I think are key components of delivering a successful training session. So as you said, start with the purpose. Why is this training needed? I think you need to ask yourself, why is this training needed? What gap am I trying to fill? What are the challenges that I'm responding to? Why am I creating this training? What is the exact problem that I'm trying to solve? What should become clearer, easier, and stronger in the end? What should participants do better after this training? And what change, what should change beyond the session? So having a clear purpose for what exactly this session is going to cover and to solve by the end of it. I think it's really key to start with, because everything else relies on it. Then I need to have some learning outcomes, obviously, to describe what participants should be able to understand, practice, apply. So it's back to this idea that I need to get them to understand something, be able to practice it and apply it. And this, in my opinion, can help with retention. So what key ideas should become clear? What skills or process should they try? And how should they use the learning in their own context or real life examples? So it's not about what will I talk about, it's more about what should participants leave this room with, or leave being able to do better. So outcomes will set a focus to the learning session, and it will divert from this boring content idea, because you will have something that students can, or learners or trainees can understand practice, and apply, and they can leave feeling much more confident about it. You all mentioned know your audience at different stages of our session. I think this is really important to understand what do they already know. And for you to be able to do that, you can start with a Q&A if you want, or some sort of quiz to understand. If you don't really know a lot about them, it's fine to start with a short assessment, what we call formative assessment, quickly, just to get an idea of where they are with a particular topic. Understand their background, what can they bring, their experience, their needs, why are they attending, what are their expectations, what do they want to achieve by the end, and where will they be applying this learning, because that can help you tailor the scenarios and the examples you give to maybe help them fit into their context better. Communication, what should the message be explained, how should the message be explained clearly, and if there are any challenges or limitations that may affect the session, things that you can adapt to throughout, but you need to think about possible challenges. Now, from my experience, additional components to bridge this gap. So by bridge the gap, I mean I am at a starting point and I need to get to a destination. And for me to get from A to B, I need to be able to bridge this gap. And once I know where I am and where I need to get to, then I'll have a clear picture of what should be the content of the session. From my experience, chunking content is really important. So into clear, manageable parts. Don't overload your trainees. Give examples, give stories, create scenarios. It makes it easier to connect to real world scenario situations. Have some summaries and transitions. So help them follow the route, understand how each part connects. Close with a reflection. Always have some sort of reflection task, not just final slide and that's it. Maybe a Q&A at the end is fine, but have something for them to be able to just leave with or talk about. And the last one is really important for me, really important: differentiation. And it depends on what type of training you deliver, and those in the education sector may know more. You will get students who have different learning needs, and it's really important to adapt to those learning needs and to respect them. And with adult learners, it's the same thing. They may have different experiences, and it's really important to be able to understand those experiences and try and match your content to help them overcome those challenges if you want. Now, obviously, there may be more. If you feel there are other things that we can add, please feel free to mention them in the chat. So with everything we talked about so far, I think what I'm trying to say in this section is going back to this pyramid and trying to design a learning journey. So asking yourself, what will I cover? Okay, so how and so where do participants need to go? So if I'm covering this, thinking about my A to B, maybe try and get them to follow a particular learning sequence, move from this trainer focus to participant focus, get them to be able to practice and apply. And this could be through discussion groups, could be through through teaching others. I mean, it depends whether it's face-to-face or online. And when we look at tools, maybe you can get them to create a discussion through online tools. It doesn't have to always be face-to-face. And when you finish the session, again, don't finish with, this is the information that I've given you and that's it. Try and have something for them to apply. Now, I generated this image using AI to try and demonstrate visually what a practical model for training structure, in my opinion, should look like. And this kind of connects us to the next section, which is on AI. But yeah, you need to have a purpose. You need to have an audience that you understand really well, understand the outcomes, prepare the content really well, create some activities, exercises, tasks, discussions, check understanding, and have some summary or key points for next steps and takeaways. I mean, it doesn't have to strictly be those items, but they kind of give a generic overview of what successful planning may look like. And at the end of the day, you will know your training material better, your audience better, and you will adapt as needed. But this could be a great starting point for you to create your sessions. Okay. We will talk about the last part for today, and this one will have some demonstrations integrated, so might be slightly longer than the previous ones. So this is an exciting topic at the moment, and a lot of trainers and teachers and educators in the sector are in different opinions about it. I'm not here to give you a particular opinion or side or claim a side. We just need to understand what AI tools can support us to create training sessions, and briefly. So AI as a support tool, and for me, I mean, this is my recently published book on the transformation that took place in the education sector as soon as AI suddenly appeared up until now. And for me, the one takeaway from this book is that we have a lot of technologies that have been introduced to us throughout hundreds of years, going back to how teaching used to be and where we are now. Loads of new technologies got introduced over time. And we can, if we decide to, view AI as a new technology and not forget the human part of it and the things that learners can gain from humans and not technology itself. So therefore, AI can support the trainer, and it can support hugely, but it should not replace the trainer. And throughout the next few slides, we will look at what I mean by that. But tools can help. They obviously can help, and it's fine to use them. You can use them for planning, before delivery, for improving structure, language barriers, generating examples and questions, reviewing clarity, maybe reflecting, someone to think with you or through the material. But it is your responsibility to stay ethical about it. So it's your responsibility to think about the accuracy, to think about the relevance and the ethics part of it. So as I said, as a preparation assistant, my opinion is definitely fine to use AI tools to support with brainstorming sessions. If you cannot think of particular examples and scenarios, AI tools can help you do that. And if you give some ideas on who or some information on who is your audience, their background, etc., then you can get some really good examples and scenarios to use. And obviously, you then need to tailor them, but it's a good starting point. Sometimes it's good to simplify some complex explanations, draft some knowledge check questions, improve slide flow, refine your notes, maybe adapt some content to different audience levels. Think of new activities, projects, ideas to get them to apply this knowledge. Rewrite some items in a better, clearer way, create actions. And as one of you mentioned earlier, preparing possible questions and answers. So I think it definitely has its place, but your judgment is really important. So AI output is not the final training material. Please don't do that. It's surprising, how many sessions we attend and people forget things that are AI generated in the actual text copied onto the slides. And it's just embarrassing. You still need to edit the language. You still need to make things clear. You still need to make things natural and suitable for the session. I used AI to help me with some of this content, but as you can see, I've got my own uh, um, personality in it, if you want. So my own experience, my own examples, my own. But in one or two places, I was struggling to think about how to present the information on a slide, and it's fine to ask questions to get ideas, but I don't rely on AI to give me the material and just copy and paste it into a PowerPoint and deliver it. That would not be adaptation to your audience. That would not be adjusting to your participants' field and context. And add your particular experience, your own identity into it, your stories, your practical insight, your relevant examples. Don't just get generic content that sounds boring or disconnected. I think the final training material should reflect your own judgment, identity, and purpose. So it's really important to do that. So to be able to achieve that, the responsible use of AI is to think about, how can I consider data protection, sensitive information, private feedback. Shall I share it? Can I share it? Check facts. Not all information that you get from AI tools is always true. So you need to always double check the facts, double check the examples, the suggested content before you actually use it. Review whether the output includes unfair or one-sided views, because at the end of the day, they will come across as your own views and opinions, and you cannot have, this material presented as yours when it's not. Adapt AI suggestions to the field, tailor it to the culture, the group you're delivering to, the country, maybe the environment, the community, and don't over rely on AI because it doesn't replace your perfect professional trainer judgment. Okay, be clear about AI use, just like I did a few minutes ago. It's fine to say you've used AI. It's part of our lives. We cannot, it's not bad to use it if used ethically and correctly. It's fine. So you don't have to lie about it or feel bad that you've used it. It's just that you need to understand how to use it responsibly. So how do I actually do that? Prompting is really important. The prompt that you submit to the AI tool will get you better answers, and therefore prompting is really important for better training design. So in my prompt, when I need to ask for a particular scenario or material or content or adjustment or whatever, try to include the audience, the topic, the level, the duration, the learning outcome, the tone, the constraints, output format, anything you can give. The more information you give, the better the output. We know this. So because this is how it works. Based on your input, a particular process happens to gather the data for you, and then it gets produced as an output. So my input is the most important part if I want a very highly accurate, relevant output. So I thought about those examples, and I mean for me personally, I consider those short prompts. I tend to write much longer prompts to AI tools such as ChatGPT and other tools, because the longer and more accurate the prompt, the better the answer. So notice here, for example, I am giving an example on the duration, the audience, the topic, the level of participants, and what they need to know by the end of the session. So the learning outcome, how the session will be delivered, the tone. And I'm asking you, please suggest a clear session outline with timings, key points, one simple activity, and one knowledge check. So for planning, I think this has some good information to get me started. It can have much more, but it's not a bad start. For me to create scenarios, I probably don't really need the tone. I need the concept, the audience. So there are different things that you can add into the prompt itself to get what you want. Even the last one, to create 5 multiple choice questions to try and understand the topic better, and your audience before actually generating the multiple choice questions. We will demonstrate an example in a second. But yeah, here are more prompt starters, and this will be shared with you. So those prompt starters are starters. They're not supposed to be all you submit. You should add more information, obviously, but notice how we set the time so that they know, is this training session 10 days or is it 60 minutes? You need to know the difference. Who is it for? Who's the audience? You're asking them to include objectives, key sections, timing. So instead of receiving a wrong, irrelevant answer, you're being specific about the output that you expect from them. Again, for creating examples, give me 5, you list 5. Is being specific. Keep them realistic, clear, suitable. I mean, and me personally, what does realistic mean in this case? So again, you can be a bit more specific, but these are starters, as I said. So simplifying content, again, you can give particular text and say, well, look, I want to simplify it without losing the meaning. Simpler language, what do you mean by simpler language? Again, you can be more specific in some cases. These are similar to the ones before, and this is for me very useful, this tip in green here. Always found that you can always add at the end, ask me questions for a better understanding, or something similar, just to get the AI tool to understand better about what you want to do and achieve, rather than the tool itself generating random material that is not necessarily relevant. And the more it understands you, the more the conversation goes on and on, the more clarity and accuracy it will be. Before I move on to, maybe we can demonstrate one example together on ChatGPT in a minute, but AI tools that can support your training preparation. Maybe you know some more tools that you can share with us in the chat, please. But there are some general AI assistants, such as the ones listed. You don't have to use those ones on the slide. You can use any tool you've come across that you think works for you or can achieve your outcomes. But these are ones that I have tried almost all, and I think uh, if used correctly, they can be a great assistant. But if you can think of any more tools that you think the rest of the participants today can benefit from, please share. Okay, before we move on to the reflection, let's be sorry. Let me just share. So, if I think about this prompt that we had in our slides, I'm preparing for a 5-session training course for school teachers on classroom management. Participants are experienced teachers. By the end, they should be able to have a clear understanding of classroom management. So, typing really quickly. The session will be delivered, let's just go with in person. And the tone should be firm, reflective. Okay. I'm going to ask me questions to understand or to better understand my needs. Or say before answering, ask me questions. So yes, I have given a lot of detail, but in my opinion, this might be enough, but actually it's not, because the difference in the generated answer will matter. So what this tool is going to do now, thinking about what I want, and now it's asking me questions. How long is each session? So I've said 5 sessions, but I haven't really said the duration of each. So let's just go with 90 minutes. Okay. And what's classroom management too? So let's do behavior challenges. So these are things, as you can see, I haven't really mentioned. What outcomes do I want them to understand it, to apply it, to be able to apply it, to be able to reflect on it, to create? What exactly do I want them to do? So to apply it. Okay, so 3 questions so far. Below is a practical 5-session course design, etc. Okay, so I didn't really ask it to present it this way. Maybe that's not what I want. Maybe, okay, maybe the information is correct, but it's not how I want this tool to present it. So maybe that's something I could have mentioned as well before I get to this stage. It talks about the session 1, the timing, key points that I need to cover. So it has given me a starting point, how to knowledge check. Okay, so if I want this to be converted to a Word document or PDF, I can tell it to do that. If I want adaptations. I can also do that before moving on, but it's clearly giving me 5 sessions on how this should be. I can always go back and forth and say, well, for session 1, can we think of the knowledge check? What were they? Were they questions, or what is it? Present 4 statements to ask. So can we think about the knowledge check 4 statements? What might they be? So I want now content to be generated based on this. So here are 4 statements. It's giving me the content I need. Again, I can keep going and going and going and say, well, look, I need this, I need that. I don't think the statements fit with my course. Ask me more questions to better understand what I need and regenerate. I mean, as you can see, the more information, you don't have to just accept what the tool does. You can always discuss things with the tool. You can supply images. Okay, so still not understanding what I want. But based on my new questions, I got what I want. If not, maybe I can regenerate. That's not a problem. So this was just a sort of demonstration of what I think. But I can also say, let's go back to your first section where you did a Q&A. I'm going to say I did a training session. 60% answered the Q&A B, 20% C, and 20% E. The correct answer is E. What does this tell me, and how can I adapt based on this? Okay, so obviously, because only 20% answered E, which is the correct answer, and 60% chose B, then there's a clear signal that something wasn't right. Maybe those who selected C have a different misunderstanding. B should be your main focus because it's attracted most participants. I mean, obviously, I have given it a very brief data here, but if you have much bigger data, you can get some really good analysis. Invite 2 or 3 but with some suggestions on how to overcome this, what to change in the next session. I mean, obviously, I haven't given it enough information for it to give me a clear decision, but it's assisting me in getting to can you turn them into a chart? Maybe, I don't know. Can do that quickly just for me to have visual representation. Okay. Anyway, so these are things that are possibly make your life easier when designing these sessions or training material. So today we explored the foundations of effective training practice. We looked at the three main sections on the structure, the actual components, the role of the trainer, and the way to prepare lessons using technology and digital tools. Next session, we will look at online presence, body language, confidence, voice, spacing, engagement and feedback, evaluation, continuous improvement. I want you to think about any reflections, questions, think about any items you may want to discuss that you didn't have a chance to interrupt during the presentation. Maybe you want to give some feedback, talk about things you'd like to hear about next time. So please feel free to share any information that you think is useful. Sometimes during a session, I feel a disconnect between myself and the audience. Is it normal? How can I stay motivated and keep my energy engagement high throughout the session? This disconnection that you feel is usually normal because it depends, because it's online, and when it's online, sometimes you tend to lose focus if the session is not engaging or if it's not actively involving participants. So I think it comes back to the way the session is designed and also your interest in the material itself. So you need to have this component that we talked about at the beginning, where you set as a trainer a purpose and get the learners to understand why they are learning something and why they want to how they can apply this and use it. And I think will give them a better chance at staying motivated and willing to engage in the session. So it doesn't necessarily have to be you who is the problem. It could be the way the material is designed, or it could be your passion for a particular topic or content. But I think the ways to solve this could be to give feedback to the trainer if you think that is the issue, or for you to find a way to engage with the material better, like maybe taking notes or writing things down if that's your way of learning. How can I,
We have
as a
another
trainer?
question, Rayan.
Yeah.
I will help you just to make it easier for you. We just have a question. How can I as a trainer, incorporate multiple learning style profiles in just one session from Hannah?
So very important question, because learning styles are very important. So some learners learn visually, some learners learn by listening things, by hearing things. Some need to see it on the board, some need to rewrite it. And I think if you can tailor to all those by you speaking and explaining the material, you having it written on a slide or on the board, you having visual material as well, such as images or diagrams or representations. And at the end of the day, it comes back to this pyramid that I was talking about. For them to retain this information, maybe have some tasks for them to be able to apply or do some group work where they teach each other, or they can discuss to be able to retain the content.
Another question we have it that sometimes when we are going to do just interactive activities, it takes a lot of time. So which affect time management, how they can deal with that situation?
So it's really important first to inform trainees of the time they have. You need to be specific and clear from the beginning, because if you don't tell them how much time they have, they will think, I have the whole session to achieve this task. So set a time and it comes back to breaking things down into chunks. So maybe have the activity broken down into parts. Look, you have 5 minutes to complete this part. In 5 minutes, I will stop everyone. So and then taking that information. All right, next step. And gradually you can work with the team that you have to help them manage their time if you will see them more often, obviously. But it's about the way you design the session, I think, that will decide how much time it will take. You can always add items. So, for example, you can start with something um, that is very focused. And instead of, for example, giving them, you know, open access to the internet to look for a particular piece of information, maybe you can give them like 3 websites, which you know have the answers. And you can say, well, look, go to those 3 websites only to solve this task. And that's where you are limiting them just sort of using the whole session to complete a particular task just for looking for information. Or if it's a distraction when they are solving something or interacting, maybe that needs more better facilitation or supervision. It's part of how you manage the teams and who works with who and so on. So it depends on particular situation, but I think you as a trainer can manage it by chunking things down and deciding what material they will use to solve each task.
Another questions we have is that usually retention rate after a training is low. So how can we design the training content in a way to increase the retention rate or to make a lasting impact?
I think for me, this is this pyramid solves this question, and lecturing and reading and just getting them to listen to things is not going to work in terms of retention. Yes, you do need this, and it comes back to the first slide where you sometimes need to be a speaker. It's fine to do that, but you need to be able to get them to discuss in groups, practice by doing, to get them to apply things, and to teach others. I think when they have to teach others, they need to have understood it fully to be able to do that. And that's why it's the highest. Because for me to be able to teach you about X, Y, Z, I need to have understood it fully first. So it's about the way you design the tasks. So maybe move to things like project-based learning. It really depends on the industry, but mainly think of activities that fit into the last 3.
Thank you, Mr. Rayan. Our last question before we are going to end the session, how should people with special needs be treated if we just have special needs people in the session? So how we are going to deal with them?
For me, this is a huge part because I once was given a special class that has 10 students, and the 10 had different educational needs. And it was an enjoyable experience to be able to tailor most of my content to do that. So I think number one is you can have 2 types or 3 types of activity. So let's say you're creating a particular task for a particular training session. That task, one, for example, can have more supportive information. One can be very challenging. One can be, and so on. So it depends on the learning needs at that particular time. You decide which. They are the same task, the same question, but the amount of support that you give varies, if you get what I mean. So that's one way. But the other way is to don't be afraid to give additional content after the session. So if you think 5 trainees need more help or need more clarity, You can always do a small session afterwards, or you can give them exercises for them to complete and give back to you, which will help clarify that particular weakness. Learning styles are also important. If you think some learn visually, some learn by reading, some learn by rewriting things, you need to tailor for that and give time for it. So it's about adapting as much as possible, and that can be a little bit tiring when preparing the session, but the reward is really amazing once you can feel that you've reached every learner's needs.
One more question. I'm sorry, but we just have active participants today. They're just asking about the audience. How can trainers predict in advance and adapt their training materials to different learners' needs to maintain engagement when they don't have enough about their audience? If we don't have an idea before about audience, so how we are going to adapt the material, the training material?
So usually we try and have a pre-session form to try and get this information. If we cannot get this information, I suggest starting with one or two activities to try and understand more about them, but in a summative, quick way. So not in a way that, so for example, one example could be, I can say, look, discuss with the person next to you 3 things that you struggle with in whatever your workplace or whatever the training is about, and they can write that down quickly, and you can, as a trainer, skim through this and get a clear image of the struggles, for example. Then you can do another one to get X, Y, Z, and then that way you will have a clear picture of, all right, these are the issues that I have to tackle, and these are the strong points maybe, or these are my gifted and talented trainees, these are my weak trainees if I want to group them. Or so you would have to do it on the spot through short activities to try and get a better understanding. And then you, as a trainer, it's your job to have different tasks prepared. And it's fine to sometimes skip a task, come back to another task, or do this one before that one, or remove it completely. Sometimes maybe get them to create their own task. So it's that adaptation that you need to have prepared for so that once you receive this clear picture of what the weaknesses are, or the training, that how the learning needs, and then you can adapt as needed.
Thank you. I would like to thank you, Mr. Rayan, really for this valuable and engaging session, and for sharing your experience, practical insight, and professional guidance with our global community. Today's sessions actually remind us that effective training is not just only about delivering information. It's about creating connection, encouraging participation, understanding learner, and transforming knowledge into meaningful action. I would like just to thank everyone here, all the trainers, educators, and professionals who joined us today. Your active participation, thoughtful contribution, questions, and interaction really made the session more dynamic, meaningful, and enriching for everyone. This is only the first part of our learning journey. We look forward to welcoming you again for the second sessions of the TO2 that is going to be held on 24th July at 7 p.m. Also. And if you please, it is IST, so because I'm receiving many notifications from trainers, they have a problem with time zone. Please remember that attendance at both sessions is required to receive your certificate. I have shared the attendance link on the chat box. So if you please, before leaving the session, make sure to fill in. Until then, I encourage just you to reflect on today's learning and consider how can you apply these ideas actually in your own training practice. On behalf of the International Internship University and IIU Global Trainer Network, I would like to thank you once again for your presence, for your commitment, and your valuable interaction. We look forward actually to seeing all of you in the next session. Have a wonderful evening and stay connected. Rayan, if you would like to end with something.
Yeah, thank you for all your participation. The session couldn't have been this engaging without your involvement. So I'm glad there's high level of participation, and I hope you benefited from what we've discussed, and hopefully we can cover more next session. Thank you.
Thank you all, and hopefully we're gonna meet next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Simon, it's a pleasure just to meet here.
Pleasure to meet you, Maha.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you, madam. Please, we would like to get the recorded version, please. The recorded version, please, on WhatsApp.
Yes, concerning the recording, I will share it via email, and also I will share it on WhatsApp group like usually. Really, thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you, madam. It has been a pleasure.
Bye.
Yeah, see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Mr. K.
Thank you.
Are you online?
It was very
Mr. K.
Yeah.